All right, welcome back to the Alex Doomsday Lainez channel here on YouTube. And if you're not following us, make sure you're following us on IG and Facebook. Definitely am on TikTok, but I'm not dancing around nowadays there. So yeah, stick to the IG and YouTube, and make sure you hit the like, subscribe, notification bell, and all that good stuff to help support and give visibility to the channel. Now that that's over with, hey, listen, guys, you know what it's been like for the Doomatron trying to get back into a healthy position in his life where he's not complaining about the pains, suffering from the pains. Really, you're always going to complain, right, when you're in pain. But suffering in silence, suffering and just kind of dealing with the pains has been kind of my story. And I've had a change of course in life, and I just want to introduce everybody to somebody who's very dear to me now, especially now that I've gotten to know him even more. He's a great guy, great practitioner in his field. And let's just bring him on, man. He'll tell you all about himself. He throws hands a little bit here and there, so don't mess with the doc. And here he goes. This is the man himself, the guy responsible for Dumatron's healing and his comeback to the ring. Dr. Alex Lyubarsky, what's up, brother? I appreciate you coming on, man.
What's going on, bro? Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, listen, it's a pleasure to have you, bro. And I've been wanting to do this interview with you for a little bit now because a lot of people want to know more. I've gotten the DMs, I've gotten texts, I've gotten even emails. People's like, hey, man, so what's that really about? I've gone once, and maybe others are telling me that they don't want to go, and I'm telling them, man, that like consistency and obviously a lot of other therapeutic recommendations, like stretching, such as yourself has told me, stretching is important. That goes along with the healing process. So,
Absolutely.
Dr. Alex, I'll start with first of all, you have a practice here in New Jersey. Lucky for me, guys, it's like 15 minutes down the street. Like I got fucking lucky with Dr. Alex, because sometimes when you want to go see a good doctor, you're like, I got to travel far for a good doctor. But no, we have a gold nugget here in Cranford, New Jersey, and it's you and your wife, right, together that have this practice together and have been doing it for a while. So, but how many years have you and your wife been in this field?
Well, we actually just celebrated 18 years in that practice in that one location that you come to in Cranford. So we've just been there 18 years. I think like 2 days ago was our 18th anniversary. But we've both been practicing about 22 years or so.
22 years.
22, 23, yeah, like 22, 23 years.
That's amazing. They say that if you've done 10,000 hours in anything, you become an expert. So I could only imagine how many thousands of hours that go along with 20 plus years, bro.
It flew. It flew. My wife and I, man, we've been practicing there for, like I said, 18 years. She's actually the A squad. I'm the B squad.
Oh snap! The truth comes out.
Yeah. She's actually like the better doc. Don't tell her I said that, but she's the A squad.
Hey, listen. Well, big shout out to Dr. Wendy Lyubarsky as well. She's an amazing person. Her along with the staff there at Dr. Alex's. Shout out to Lizzie, who's always there with a welcoming smile.
Kim.
Oh, Kim. I'm sorry. God, she's gonna kill me for that. Oh, shout out to Kimmy, man. I'm sorry. Listen, I haven't had enough cups of coffee just yet, right?
Right on.
I'll blame it on that. But yeah, so you've been doing it for 20 years, and you've been serving the community of Cranford and many people around who come and travel to your location to get cracked, right? I mean,
man.
That's what I went there for, guys. I went there to get adjusted, and man, when I tell you Dr. Alex knew exactly what he was doing, he knew how to get me into a relaxed position. I'm one of the most tense guys in the world, and I think that was one of the fears too of like me kind of like being combative to the therapy, because obviously I've been in a lot of combat sports. Anything that's not natural to me in either pushing or pulling or bending any part of my body.
I just be pressing on your spine.
Yeah, or that just simple pressing. I'm gonna react in a fight or kind of stage. So that was one of my fears, but luckily that wasn't it. And I got cracked so many times, And just like many of you were following me too when I was in Texas with the other Dr. Alex Tubio, and you guys knew the super amount of relief that I received from that. And obviously, I wasn't traveling all the way to Texas every week, so I definitely had to find somebody that was either equal or better. I got lucky that I found somebody who's better, in my opinion. Right? It's just the guy's amazing. And I know I'm not the only one. You go on the Google reviews, you'll see plenty of people who have wrote good things about Dr. Alex and his wife.
Appreciate it.
And
Thank you.
and I'll go on to say this: it's not always easy, right? It's not always easy dealing with others' ailments and trying to figure things out for people. You just never know what people are actually doing, if they're following the recommendations of what Dr. Alex is saying. So I asked the question, right? I know you deal with all sorts of patients, young, older patients, athletes, guys that sit on the desk. From your experience, like what are some of the patients that or should I say, what are some of the jobs that your patients have that have the most problems, or that are in more need of the adjustment than the average guy who's probably moving around more, or maybe vice versa?
You know what? Honestly, it's everybody, but different issues for different people. So
Give us an example, right?
obviously people who work desk jobs, you know what I mean? Desk jobs, people are sitting, and especially during COVID, nobody had a dedicated workstation at their house. Not everybody, but like a lot of people didn't have a dedicated work, so they're working off their bed, they're working off their couch, they're working in on a recliner. People got a little bit more hip to it as time went on. They started working. They started buying desks and proper chairs at home and working on a dining room table, whatever. We're having like a firm position they would sit on. But obviously when you sit, there's a lot of activation of the hip flexors. So the hip flexors are going to be tight. People don't stretch their hip flexors. They just don't.
So,
Uh,
so when I'm sitting down, because I sit a lot, doctor, and
yeah.
that's one of the things I mentioned to you. So you said when you're sitting, your hip flexors are activated. Is that because like you're trying to like hold your spine straight? Is
Well,
that
no, you're just sitting. You're just sitting. So your hip flexors are working. They're activated. You're not stretching them. They're being used. That your hips are bent. Your knees are bent. So you're sitting there. So that's you're really not have to do anything.
you know what? In my mind, I'm thinking I'm sitting down and I'm basically resting everything, but it's the opposite. Then I'm
You-
actually activating the flexors because I'm bending them.
Yeah, so they also say that, like, they, as in like the medical community or the healthcare community, says that like sitting is the new smoking, because you're putting a lot of pressure on your sacrum and your lower lumbar area, but also not being mobile. You know what I'm saying? Before, people were farmers, people did all kinds of manual labor. Now the people are sitting at the desks. They're not using their body. They're pretty much activating their hip flexors. That's getting tight. You're not stretching that. And then the neck is being hunched forward, because a lot of times people are working off their laptops, and that's putting a lot of tension and overuse on their upper back muscles, trapezius, and the cervical spine. And so that's where we see like a lot of problems, especially for people who work desk jobs. And then of course the people who work like manual labor, like guys who dig ditches, and like heavy machine operators, they have a
Yeah.
whole slew of other things going on, well, or very similar, but just a different mechanism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, different structure, different folks, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, using and activating different muscles at different times and different temperatures. Those guys that work construction, they're out in the cold, they're out in the freaking
Heat,
yeah.
yeah.
I can
Yeah,
imagine.
just jackhammering. I mean, the body's just getting beat up left and right.
Well, let me pivot over to athletes, right? Because
Yeah.
a huge part of my listeners are boxing oriented listeners. They
Mhm.
definitely follow the sport, and some of them actually practice the sport. If not competitively, they surely do it for fitness.
Mhm.
What are some of the injuries that can occur in the boxing sport? I know MMA. We have similarities. Obviously, MMA is a little, I guess, more tolling on the body because of the judo slams in that.
Right.
Well, what kind of injuries can arise from practicing the sport of boxing, and what are some of the things that can be done in chiropractic?
Well, so with let's say boxing injuries, obviously the first thing that comes to mind is boxers fractures, hand injuries. Which again, once that happens, I really don't have anything for. You just gotta let it heal, and get a cast for it or whatever, or splint it up, whatever that takes. And then, but the other thing that comes to mind is, of course, whiplash injuries. So it's the same as a car accident, just a different
Def-
mechanism.
Definitely
You
a
know,
good.
your head's getting bounced back and forth, taking shots in the head, taking body shots, hitting the ground, whatever it is. Whiplash injuries are a big thing with any combat sport.
No, not, it's crazy when you said whiplash. I never really even thought about actually the actual term whiplash when you're getting punched in the head and the face. And one of the first things that I used to do when I get back from an amateur fight was just put a big pack of ice in the back of my neck, because my neck would always be very sore.
Yeah.
And you're taking shots. You obviously got the headgear. Thank the Lord for that. And but your head does snap back. And yeah, man, a good point pointing out, man. It's like a freaking car accident you're in after.
It's multiple little car accidents over and over and over again. Again, just a different mechanism, different impetus for the injury, but the injury is similar.
Well, let me ask you this: what do you see as the most valuable like aspects of chiropractic? Well, for the patient, what do you feel is like the most valuable aspects of chiropractic?
Uh,
I mean, that
back to doing what they want to do. So,
ooh, that's it.
you know what I'm saying? So,
That's what I
so
was
many people are limited because they, can't can't box play. I had a kid the other day came in, had back in the issues, couldn't play soccer, hasn't played soccer in months. I'm like, well, how bad do you want to, play soccer again? He goes, I want to play soccer. I said, well, here's what we got to do. And, we took care of him, and, he's getting back to playing soccer, slowly but surely. It's not, it may not happen instantly for him. Again, different injuries, different periods of length that people have had injuries. So the longer you've had an injury, the longer it takes, obviously, to heal. Sometimes, a lot of times, which is weird to me, but we still get those miracle cases where people get like insane quick results after, being limited for such a long period of time. But they happen a lot, but I never want to give that person that kind of hope, because I don't ever want to be, like, I don't ever want somebody to say like, oh, you told me, it's only going to take 2 weeks. I'm like, I would rather err on the side of caution, obviously,
Yeah. I mean, we get excited. Those of us who have been suffering for a long time. I was one of those that reacted pretty fast to your therapy and the adjustments. And
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much of a difference it's made. So it's I guess it's just what you say. It depends on the situation. Every individual is different, and I guess depending on how long you've been suffering from it. Another thing that I learned from you, Doc, then I'll mention it now, is that when you've been dealing with, I guess, these ailments for so long, and your wife Wendy actually mentions this to me also, is that you start you start to actually shift depending on what it is. And that's what was going on with me, where I felt like, I was putting more weight on the left side of my body, and I felt like my hip was higher. I didn't know, and and I still tell you these things on our appointments, and it was something that I didn't, I just kept dealing with. Some of us are taught to push, especially the athletes, and it was just something I just kept dealing with, and I started to feel that disalignment. Now, going with that, what other forms of therapy do you offer that you offer there in your offices, and what are the advantages of these forms of therapy?
Okay, so let's see. So obviously we do chiropractic care. Uh, we use multiple. We do a lot of extremity adjustments, like your shoulder. We did your shoulder, obviously, and that's been holding up really, really, really nice. We also offer sports taping. We also offer uh, ISTAM, which is instrument assisted soft tissue mobilization.
Well,
So
let me stop you I mean, the last one sounded very, very, very.
Oh, I've done it to you, man.
Yeah, what
The scraping, the rock blades.
the rock blades, right?
Yeah,
And before then, you said taping. Now
yeah.
what? I see these guys at the gym sometime, and they got that tape on them. What
Mhm.
is that, and what does that really do?
All right. So the sports tape, and again, this has been proven under uh, ultrasound. When they guide ultrasound over tissue that has tape and not as and doesn't have tape on it. So the tape lifts the skin and the fascia off of the muscle to allow for freer movement of the muscle. So when there's muscular restriction going on, you add sports tape to the affected area, and that picks up the skin and picks up the fascia up off the skin, allows for freer movement, but it also acts as um, almost acts as like a pair of fingers going home with you to kind of keep your to kind of keep your body in a more neutral position, so that like the way we tape you is kind of the way we want your body. So it's almost like a pair of hands going home with you, saying, no, 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 keep your back straight.
Oh snap,
Yeah, it
man!
offers what's called proprioceptive input to the body. So that proprioceptive input is, like I said, almost like a pair of hands or a pair of fingers going home with you, saying, "No, no, 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 keep your head back, keep your back straight, stop hunching your shoulders."
What, bro? Listen, what great clarity you just brought to that, man. I didn't know. I never got an explanation like that. Obviously, I would assume always that the tape was doing something like, creating tension, but you said that it actually pulls the skin off the fascia, so it
Yeah,
allows freer range of
so
motion.
it allows for freer muscle glide. Absolutely.
That makes so much sense, man. And one of
Well,
our
it's not a restrictive tape; it is a mobilizing tape.
because it's on the surface of the skin.
Right. Yes. I mean, there is taping that, of course, is done for restriction of movement. If someone suffered some sort of, a different kind of injury, like like a like a fracture or something like that, we don't want mobilization. But this is taped for mobilization.
Or mobilization. A-
Right.
Amazing. And then you were diving into the tech stuff before you well, actually you said the scraping, which
Right.
listen, I experienced the scrape, and I can tell
Yeah, it's
you
not fun, but it's super helpful.
it's not. And listen, and I actually thought, because you see it on TV. Listen, this is why I say, do not go by everything that you see on TV and what other people's experiences are.
Absolutely.
You got to take yourself to the spot, and if you're near here, go to Cranford, see the doc. The doc will tell you, man. Listen, everybody's pain tolerance is different. Everybody's injuries are different. I
Yep.
thought that I was going to be in a hell of a lot of pain. What I was is almost like a pain, but it's a tickle. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when I'm getting scraped, it wasn't this like, oh my God. Yeah, it leaves a little redness on the skin. And Doc, you could tell us a little bit more. Why does that happen? But it wasn't like I went home. Oh, I'm bruised. It wasn't any of that. Like,
So obviously, when you're scraping the skin, and again breaking down um the fascia, that's, like I said, we talked about this, in the office when you were there. So like obviously when you lift weights, muscles proliferate, and they become shorter and tighter, and that's how muscles get big. So, but it also is restrictive in movement, so you got these guys with huge backs and huge arms. They don't really have a lot of range of motion, you know what I mean? So, and again, they're way beyond what I'm talking about. But when people do lift weights, and their muscles do grow, obviously the fascia ha- uh, has to accommodate for that, um, for those micro tears in the muscles, and it almost sees the body as having an injury, so the body creates more fascia, or more restriction in that area. So yeah, obviously that limits your range of motion. So
so
what we do is we scrape that area to help reduce that restriction. But what you're seeing when you see that redness is just a histamine effect. It's it's inflammation, essentially. That's all it is.
and
And blood vessels are coming to the surface.
so that fascia accumulating is that what we call knots when we start saying
Yeah,
like
kind of like that. Yeah,
we got these knots and shit?
yeah,
All right, yeah,
not some shit.
yeah, knots and shit. Bro, listen, when you're at the gym, bro, you're there, doc, and you're just touching yourself, and you're like, man, what's this and what's
Oh,
this?
don't do that. You're gonna get arrested.
Next question. Hey, listen, I got to tell you one thing, right? I know that a lot of people go there and they're very thankful. But have you ever been, or can you describe a time when you worked with like a challenging patient, or a situation when it was like, because I mean, you do my adjustments, and I mean, I'm a pretty big guy. I know I'm on my way down to 200, but I'm 235. And I mean, you literally gotta ragdoll me, and you do it. But have you ever been in a position where like, okay, maybe I got to change the technique here?
Yes. Actually, I have a patient, and he's still a patient, so I'm not gonna say his name. But he's a big man, and I actually was adjusting his back like the way I learned to do it in school, and I hurt my wrist, and so like my wrist was so. I mean, like I sprained my wrist so bad I couldn't turn the key in my door. I couldn't open up a jar. I just hurt my wrist really bad, and uh, I tried icing it. I tried using our cold laser. I tried taping, but I'm hairy, so of course the tape doesn't stick to me. Um, so this is before we had our stem wave machine. I would have used that, but this is going back 5-6 years. So I after I tried to do uh, some non-invasive stuff, I had to go and finally get a cortisone injection, and that helped me. And so I'm back to being 100% with my wrist, but I modified the way I had to adjust him because I couldn't get my chest over the midline of his body in order to adjust his back. So now I just drop his leg, and I come in, I put my leg in between his legs, and then I come down and adjust his back, and that it opens up like butter. And again, there's certain people that still, people who are very limber, you just can't put them to tension, and you can't adjust their spine. It's just they're super hard to adjust. So it's not only just big people like that, but people super limber as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'd imagine some people are like super tight. Like I know I was super tight, and
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, man, Doc actually got that,
Yeah,
because
no, like right now, a friend of mine, he's a retired medical doctor. He comes in to get adjusted. He's 70 years old, still plays baseball in like a 70 and over league up like by Warren Ankle Park and stuff like that,
for him.
over by in Elizabeth. And he still plays baseball. But this guy, he's so limber for a 70-year-old guy. Like you have to like put his back into tension. Otherwise, it just won't go.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's 70 years old, so he's in great shape.
And going along with that, right? You said you had to modify. I mean, the Doc can also get injured in some of these moves that he does. But
Or actually, wait, hold on. So I'm sorry.
go ahead.
So sometimes if I can get somebody to move, I actually ask my wife to come in and say like, "Hey, Wendy, can you move, so and so's neck or so and so's low back to see, because again, different body styles, different fields. So sometimes if I can't do it, she might get it. Sometimes if she can't get it, I might get it. So it's almost like a tag team.
It's a tag. You guys are the tag team,
Yeah,
man.
tag team. WCW, tag team champs, baby.
My man's X-Pac of the game.
Yeah.
So going along with that, I mean, it's pretty obvious now, right? But who does your alignments?
My wife.
Miss Wendy.
Yeah, Dr. Wendy, absolutely.
Dr. Wendy is responsible for Dr. Alex's alignment.
Well-being. Yeah.
And I would assume vice versa, right?
Absolutely. We adjust each other, adjust our kids. Absolutely.
Oh, and let's segue into that, right? I know we mentioned a couple of types of clients, in age groups, but how often do kids come in for adjustments?
We take care of kids quite often. Actually, my wife usually sees the kids. Again, I'm 6'3", I'm 270 pounds. Kids are like, "Whoa, you're a big friggin' ogre, get away from me." But my wife is super gentle with kids, and she's like, "Hey, let's do this. Let's make it sound like popcorn, this and that." And kids like respond to her. I'm like, "All right, come on, lay down on the table." Kids are like, whoa, what? My wife is like, she's super cool about like taking care of kids and just Just super, they love her, so she takes care of them for the most part.
That's amazing. That's the
Yeah,
yin
she's great with kids.
and yang.
Super patient. I'm like, come on, lay down on the table, bro. I don't have time. Come on.
And you know what?
I'm just kidding.
And listen, and that's great to hear, because I know plenty of times, well, most of the time when I hear about going to the chiropractor, because we're reaching that age, we're getting a little older, and we sometimes forget that children can also be in a position where they need a realignment. I mean, kids can fall, right? And
Kids fall, they trip, they fall, they get bumps and bruises on the playground, fall on the stairs, like as their body begins to grow, like growing pains, and like their feet aren't catching up to the rest of their body and vice versa. So they're always like, taking spills and playing sports, little league, that kind of stuff, basketball, football. So they're, kids need chiropractic too, man. Mike, if we take care of our kids, so it's not like we do something for somebody else and not for our kids. If it's good for us, man, we do it to the public as well.
No, I could only imagine. You said nicks and bruises, bro. I probably been carrying some disalignments as a kid. I remember falling down the stairs. I remember like taking some real bad spills when I was young. Obviously, when you're younger, you just pop up a lot faster than what.
Yeah.
And then
but again, the body also has to, again, carries those compensations we talked about, right? We talk about, like those misalignments, the body, you pop back up, but the body still has to compensate and compensate and compensate and compensate for all those, for all those falls and everything like that. So years and years and years and years later, you have back pain and neck pain and you don't know why. Well, a lot of times it's because you've had, you fell off a horse, or you fell off a jet ski, or you fell skiing, or you played football, or this and that, and then, as a 30-year-old adult, you're like, holy crap, why is my back hurting? Why is my, neck hurting me? I didn't do anything, but this is a lot of times all stuff that's carried over and brought back and back and back and back, through childhood, and also your, your body just trying to compensate and keep you as, moving as freely as possible, for as long as possible, until it says, hey, you know what? I can't do this anymore. Now it hurts.
So, and it's crazy. You just gave the perfect explanation of the next question I was going to ask, is how does the body get disaligned? And, it can take some time. Well, I guess the longer you deal with these ailments, the more the body has to adjust.
Absolutely. That's why that you have what's called like musculoskeletal imbalances. And that's what a lot of people come in for. Like they have pain and everything like that, but a lot of times it's caused because of, and again, I'm not talking about like, boxers or MMA fighters or judo players or anything like that. People were in a car accident, but people are just like, yeah, I don't know, doc. I just woke up and like my back hurts, and I'm like, okay, I got you. So, you might have slept in a wonky way or something like that, or your mattress might be a piece of crap, which is a lot of times, a reality, but it also, it's just your body's just kind of catching up to, from childhood and everything like that. Like, why, that's why your back is hurting. It's just compensating, and just it kind of gave out at this point. Says, okay, it's really, now it's starting to like bother me. It's just those musculoskeletal misalignments. What's the word I'm looking for? I just said it too. Jesus.
Disalignment, though, when you say disalignment, what are some of the common pains that disalignment can give a patient or anybody?
Obviously, lower back pain is probably the most common thing that we see in our office. Neck pain, shoulders and hips, we take care of a lot of. Headaches, see that all the time as well.
And Doc, I know you keep it on the humble a lot, man, but there's some, there's some people, some stars to be going to your office, man. What you mentioned to the listeners, some of the people that have stopped by A&W Chiropractor. I mean, I know of a few, but if you could just, tell us some that stopped by.
Sure. Well, we do take care of quite a few like top like judo players on the East Coast, obviously, so some really good like judo players that, compete on the international stage. Big Dan, Big Dan Merigliata, the referee for mixed martial arts. He works for UFC. Well, he works for the. He doesn't work for UFC, but he referees UFC. He referees Bellator, Ring of Combat, King of the Cage, that kind of stuff. Bare Knuckle Fight Club. He referees.
Oh yeah,
So Big Dan. He was actually my original Muay Thai and grappling coach. Take care of a bunch of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts. Who else? A former Maya, can't think of her last name right now, but she's a former Olympic silver medalist in ice dancing from Russia back in the 90s. Who else? A couple of people that again on TV as far as she was on let's say yes to the Bridezilla's or something like that. One of the
my lady,
like our friend Jenny, she's been on TV a whole bunch, so just people like that.
Listen, when I saw Big Dan, and listen, anybody that's not following you, go follow Dr. Alex at AW Chiropractic on IG. He does have a YouTube channel also. So you go ahead and check them out on YouTube, A&W Chiropractic. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and share. And look, man, you've had the channel up for quite some time.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the young doc right now. I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen just so that the listeners can actually see some of the videos that you got up there. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is it right here, NW Chiropractic, and this is you and your wife, right?
That's
right
my
here.
wife, Dr. Wendy. Yep, me and her.
All right.
That's that one right there. No, if you scroll down a little bit, doing a hiatal hernia adjustment. So
this guy here?
No, that's a shoulder adjustment, like down more. The one underneath that is a jaw adjustment, and that's a hiatal hernia.
Well, let's take a look at this real quick.
Just my wife doing that one,
and see exactly what that is. I mean,
so hiatal hernia is when the stomach pushes up through the diaphragm and gives people abdominal pain, digestive problems,
and gas. I actually, Doc, I thought I had this
heartburn.
I thought I heartburn. I was very, I had to adjust my diet. Obviously, I think it was the red sauces that were messing with me, but I didn't know that there was a non-invasive way to bring therapy to that. I didn't know that. Like I would have complained about this. So what is it? She's pressing down on a muscle.
Yep, she's taking a contact on the stomach and pulling it down so that it goes. So the muscle, so the stomach gets pulled down away from the diaphragm, because right now in this case, her stomach is pushing through the diaphragm.
Oh wow. See, man, these are some of the things, these are some of the ways you can get therapy, man, before you go ahead and go under the knife. Sometimes we're quick to go under
that lady, man, she's been suffering with that for years. I mean, and again, quick healer, three treatments, and she was like, man, I'm like 80% better.
And going along with the other treatments that you guys offer, I know we got to the scraping, but I really wanted to get into the stem wave and some of the other forms of therapy. Now, I see your wife Wendy here with some sort of like bowl type thing that I usually see when pregnant women go get like a all right. But what is that? What is that gun?
So we added this device to our office just back in November of 2022. Stem Wave is a high-speed, high-powered, focused sound wave machine. So these particular sound waves, like I said, they're focused, they're not dispersive. So what you're talking about before was ultrasound. Ultrasound has a dispersive wave. So it's almost like taking a rock and throw it into the water and seeing those ripples like that. So this is more of like a wedge going right into a small area. And and it sends it sends hydroelectric high speed sound waves into tissue or a joint, and what it does is it reduces inflammation. It recruits stem cells to begin the healing process, and to heal that joint, and also starts to lay down actual new blood vessels in the damaged area. So the reason things are damaged or not working right is and can't heal is because there's a lack of blood supply that is that's occurring in that specific joint. So what this does is it recruits, like I said, stem cells, and lays down new blood vessels, new blood supplies to that area. So it begins the proliferation of that and begins healing.
Uh-oh. Is the pooch. It's dog time.
Yeah.
This,
Yeah.
uh,
She barks at everything, man.
oh man, I got mine right now. Actually, he's actually knocked out. I got lucky, bro. Now he'd be right next to me right now, nudging me. Uh, yeah, that stem wave therapy that's the latest in therapy in the chiropractor field, or
It's not just chiropractic. MDs use it. I mean, there's podiatrists use it, orthopedic surgeons use it. It's like the next jump. It's the next jump in pain, in non-invasive pain management. I mean, like, we have a cold laser that we bought years ago, and the cold laser, great. We've had great results. It takes a lot longer. This fast, like almost instant results,
so,
and long lasting too. Like,
so going back to athlete. If I'm an athlete that got tweaked a little bit, I got a fight coming up maybe in the next 3 weeks or something. Is this something that I want to look into if I want to heal quick?
Yeah.
Because sometimes we'll just slap some Bengay on it and put a wrap on it and hope the best. But
Yeah.
So you're telling me that with this new stem wave technology, the way it works,
Yeah, like
the healing process is super expedited,
crazy fast. Like, it's like a lot of the videos that we have up on our Instagram page and TikTok page, those are like those like insane results that you're seeing. Those are all first treatments. Those are all first treatments.
first treatments. Yeah, the
Those are all
lady.
first treatments. In fact, they're not even first treatments. Those are the expeditionary treatments to see if this would work for that patient. So that's almost like visit zero. That's the mapping that we do of the joint. That's to see if this technology would help you. Listen, we've had one or two duds that, like, hey, you know what, it didn't do anything for you. It's not going to help you, and don't waste your money. You know what I mean? It's not going to help you. But everybody else that you're seeing that is on this thing, those are all visit zero. Those are all mapping visits to see if it'll help you, and those are like all legit, real, like, sick results.
Amazing. So that's key, right? Because
It's crazy.
I guess if I am in a bit of a jam and I need to get healing quick,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that stuff existed. In the chiropractor field, I didn't know that these new technologies were coming out and they were being available to chiropractors and not only MDs, like you said earlier.
Oh yeah, so yeah, absolutely. MDs use it, PTs use it. It's but here, so like this has actually been around for quite a long time. However, not to this scale. So again, the comparison I like to use is like grapes versus watermelon. They're both fruit. But there's a difference in size. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yes, there's been shockwave therapy that's been around for several years or many years, but again, not to this extent, not as powerful as this machine.
Shockwave sounds a little crazy. Is that like electric?
No, it's just what we talked about. It's high speed electro
So
hydroelectric sound waves.
so this is
Stem wave is the brand name. Shockwave therapy is the generic. So generic saying like sneakers. Stem wave is like Nike or Adidas. It's just a brand name.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
And Doc, man, you've definitely enlightened us a lot with many aspects of what you do. I just want to say thank you for coming
My
on the
pleasure.
show.
Thank you.
I appreciate you for everything you do for me and for the community and for your patience. I'm going to tell everybody, and I'm screaming from the top of my lungs at the top of the mountain of what you do. And for right now, if you're not following you and they want to just get to know a little bit more about what you do and the types of therapy you offer, I guess YouTube is a great place to go. IG is a great place to go.
Yeah.
Obviously, your IG is on screen now, and that's at AW Chiropractic, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And the YouTube channel I'm looking at is the same. That's ANW Chiropractic.
ANW, like with the ampersand. Yeah, I believe it's ANW chiropractic.
Okay, yes. On YouTube is ANW Chiropractic, and I'll just bring it up on screen real quick, just for us to see it real quick. Okay, there we go. That's it right there. ANW Chiropractic Center, and they've been in the business for 20 years. Him and his wife, A&W. Obviously, that's Alex and Wendy. So again, thank you for coming on. And I'd like to have you back on. Obviously, plenty of the listeners are going to have some questions. And
My pleasure. Anytime, man.
I'd love for you to come back on. And obviously, we have our own journey together. Dr. Alex is going to get me ready, make sure that I'm in the best possible position health-wise, with all my ailments, so that I'm able to make it to that USA Boxing Masters tournament.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
I don't know exactly when or which one of the Masters tournaments I'll be going in. So make sure you follow me on my IG, and it's Alex_Doomsday_LAINEZ, as well as on the channel, Alex Doomsday Lainez. And for all the boxing content, make sure you head on over to the Boxing Biz YouTube channel as well. Check out their IG. And again, Dr. Alex, appreciate you for coming on, man. And we'll love to have you back anytime soon.
My pleasure, man. Thank you.
Cheers. All right.